made for a very hard time.
When Paul Walker passed away, Vin Diesel became more determined than ever to make the Fast and Furious franchise a success. But when he asked The Rock to uphold his part of the promise, the former wrestler supposedly betrayed him. Even worse, he tried to tank the franchise. The truth is finally coming out about these two, and you'll honestly never believe what happened. The feud between Vin and The Rock is legendary, and it all started with a since-deleted post on Instagram. According to US Weekly, The Rock posted on Instagram shortly after he finished filming The Fate of the Furious. In his post, he gave a scathing snapshot of his experience working on set. He basically said that some of the people he came to work with showed up as professionals, and others did not. Immediately, fans wondered who The Rock was talking about. He turned up the heat on the drama after posting another Instagram in which he thanked certain actors on the set for working with him. Scott Eastwood and Natalie Emanuel were amongst them. One name, however, was noticeably absent: Vin Diesel. So fans speculated that it was Vin that The Rock was talking about. He wasn't alone either. For whatever reason, The Rock also had some beef with Tyrese Gibson. In a resurfaced clip, The Rock mentioned listening to Tyrese's latest album. He then said that the music sucked, and he thanked Tyrese for wasting his time while calling him quite a few questionable names. It's difficult to tell if The Rock was just joking because his tone seemed pretty serious, and he appeared genuinely angry. While the unprofessionalism that The Rock encountered on the set may have been attributed to Tyrese, it's still largely unknown what he did to earn The Rock's anger. As for Vin, it's pretty clear what made The Rock mad at him. Vin even explained it too. He said that when The Rock first joined the franchise, he wanted to make sure that people didn't just see The Rock. He needed to be seen as the character he was portraying, Luke Hobbs. In order to get that performance out of The Rock, Vin said that he did a lot of tough love work as a producer. For him, it was nothing personal. He was just acting in his role as a producer who wanted to make sure that The Rock's performance didn't threaten the franchise's success. Now, let's be honest here. Vin has a solid point. The Rock has a reputation for basically playing himself in any role he's in ever. Whether it's The Jungle Cruise or Jumanji: The Next Level, The Rock always plays the same type of character and is just basically himself. That works if the fan is coming to see the movie because they're a huge fan of The Rock. It doesn't work if they're trying to see him as an actual character and not himself. So, Vin wanted to push The Rock past his usual abilities to get a real performance out of him. Unfortunately, The Rock didn't respond well to the type of tough love that Vin was giving. Now, The Rock is very conscious of his reputation, so once people started to turn on him, he did a little backtracking. He explained that part of the reason he made the post was for publicity. He said that he had been in the game for a long time, and he knew certain tactics that could really bring some interest to a movie or project. So he made the post thinking it would start up some conversation about the fate of the Furious. He added that he knew Universal Studios, the studio behind the franchise, would have preferred if he didn't start beef with the franchise's main face. The Rock said that he even had a talk with the studio about it. Then he said that the irony was that after he made the post, interest in the movie shot up. So he was basically trying to say that what he did was right because it helped the movie make even more money. That could certainly have been one of the reasons why The Rock made the post. Or he just had his ego hurt by having someone push him to actually act for the first time in his life. Vin also didn't seem to take The Rock's opinion seriously at first either. He said that the two of them were friends and the whole feud was really just overblown by fans and the media. He added that he was sure that The Rock appreciated how hard he worked to make sure that the franchise kept on being successful. He even added that his kids called him Uncle Dwayne. Now, The Rock seemed to want to keep making their feud go on. Was it because it was giving him a lot of views and a bigger following? Who could have a problem with someone like Vin Diesel, after all? The man is all about family, which was made even more clear when Tyrese went after The Rock, saying that he was the reason why F9 was delayed. Vin called on everyone to remember their brotherhood and to come together, even if there were some problems and bumps in the road. He even shared a photo of himself with The Rock when making his post, calling for unity. So even when The Rock was starting drama with Vin, it was Vin who still had The Rock's back. Yet, The Rock played nice when it came to his spin-off movie, Hobbs and Shaw. In a video thanking everyone for their support of the movie, he specifically mentioned Vin, saying that he was grateful for Vin's support of the movie. It's totally possible that the only reason Hobbs and Shaw got its own movie was because Vin was pushing for it. Now, The Rock was noticeably absent for F9, but Vin was determined to get him back for the final movie. For Vin, the whole dream was to have everyone together for the 10th movie. It all had to do with Paul's passing. Way back when the first movie came out, Paul and Vin talked about a dream they shared. They wanted to make 10 Fast and Furious movies, and maybe a few more if they could get it to happen. When Paul tragically passed away, Vin was hit really hard. Paul was his best friend, and Vin really saw him as a brother. He even became a godfather to Paul's daughter. His relationship with Paul was so tight that when Paul's daughter eventually got married, Vin was the one who walked her down the aisle. So for Vin, getting up to 10 Fast and Furious movies was always the dream because it was something that Paul had wanted. He asked The Rock to return for it, but The Rock basically told him that he wasn't interested. He wasn't moved by Paul's dream either, so Vin had to get a little desperate to bring him in. He posted a video of himself in the backyard with his kids, and he basically begged The Rock to join the movie, calling him Uncle Dwayne and invoking Paul's name. The Rock didn't like that at all. He didn't see why Vin had to bring in the kids or exploit Paul's passing. He was even more adamant about not joining the movie. Then something happened that The Rock did not expect. He was taped to play Black Adam, and he likely thought that he was going to be the DC's version of Robert Downey Jr. Well, that movie did terribly at the box office, and any plan to continue with Black Adam was basically set to the side. So The Rock suddenly needed a new franchise. The offer from Vin to join the 10th movie was suddenly looking a lot better. The Rock ended up joining the movie, but only in a post-credits scene, likely to suggest more Hobbs and Shaw movies in the future. So The Rock didn't return because he was really part of the family or to complete Paul's legacy. He seemingly just wanted money and an easy way to get a new franchise off the ground. Fans who initially supported The Rock for calling Vin out on potentially exploiting Paul's passing quickly switched sides when they realized that The Rock isn't really the nice guy that he tries to portray himself as. Vin's continued stance on brotherhood has always been there, but after losing Paul, it became even more important to him. For Vin, achieving Paul's legacy gave him a way to mourn a passing that impacted him greatly. Despite all the drama that The Rock started, he was always ready to welcome him back into the family. But who do you guys think was in the right in this feud? Did The Rock finally join the 10th movie because he wanted to be a part of Paul's legacy? Or did he just do it for the money and opportunities? Let me know in the comments below.